just want to let you in on a bit of a secret that I haven't spoken of before. So there's two reasons why I do these videos. One is I do love sharing information to other people. I find I feel really good doing that. And so if it benefits you, well, obviously you'll keep coming back and listening. But the second one is that it keeps me on track. So I don't want you to get the impression that I'm being heroic and wonderful and sweetness and light and that I've got life all together. No way, no. I'm still learning just like all of us. But I find by doing these videos, it does help to keep me on track. It's like it gives me a chance to practice what I preach. So there you go, full disclosure. So this particular video, I want to talk to you about some of the understanding from traditional medicine and how polarity or duality works. Real simple, 101 stuff. So this idea is that in this world, in this physical world, we've got always what they call duality, duo meaning two, and we've got this pole of energies, poles, two poles. So we've got plus, or you could call that male, or young, or active, outgoing, upward rising, and we've got minus, yin, feminine, inward, reflective, and it's more to do with the nighttime energy, the inward energy. So one's more outward, one's more inward. These polarities are there in everything we do in life, absolutely everything. And so they're in relationships, they're in attractiveness to each other, they're in what motivates us in life, they're in our basic personality. So some people are naturally more outgoing, we might say they're more young, active, natured type people, more extroverts. Others are more introverts, they're more inward and reflective. And neither is better than the other, and in fact they actually need each other. So what does that mean? That means in relationships, if we're more inward, more yin natured, guess what? We're going to tend to attract partners and experiences in life that are going to be the opposite, because that's just how the game works. And vice versa, if we're more outgoing, we're going to be drawn to and attracted to people who are more inward going. Why do we do that? It's because in life we're learning to find this thing called balance, which keeps moving. It goes from one side of the pendulum swing to the other. So in traditional medicine, all this information that I'm giving to you, by the way, it doesn't come from my brilliant learning. It comes from what I've understood from studying this stuff. So all I love doing is translating that to you in a very practical, usable way. So if we look at the seasons, we can come into here, we can say summertime is the warmer, outward, young time of the year. Wintertime is the more cooler, inward, reflective yin time of the year. And we can actually then break those two poles down, plus, minus, into 4 other divisions, which is what we call the 4 elements in nature. So the active side, the male side, can also be further broken down into 2 elements called fire and air. The yin side can be broken down into earth and water. And those 4 elements, just like the male and the female, also have to come together and coalesce to balance. So within us, we have all of these elements within us, but our innate nature will tend to lean a little more favourably to 1 or 2 of these elements, or one side of the plus-minus scale. So some people are naturally, shall we say, they're more outgoing, like I mentioned before, they're more active, they're more positive charge. I don't mean positive as in good and negative bad, I mean charge electrically. And those kind of people are going to be the ones who want to get out in the world and do stuff. And they're going to be more obvious and more known and more outward in their behaviour. And they're going to attract people, like I said, of the opposite polarity. They're going to attract life experiences that are more inward and reflective, and they actually need that to balance, so that they too can find the other side of themselves, the other two elements that they tend to have but are more asleep, more in the background or more quiet. And then you've got the more yin type personalities, the more minus polarity. They're the ones who tend to be more thoughtful, reflective. They're more in the background. They're not so much up there out front. They don't want to be centre stage. They're happy just to take a more backward stance in life. And they're likely also to attract, at times in their life, business relationships, partner relationships, family relationships. Family's always the best one to teach us, where they need to sometimes step forward and speak up and say what they innately know, which can be difficult for them. So that's just a very quick breakdown of a subject that I'm going to go into a lot more depth into, is exploring these elements. So fire, air, earth, water, male, female, active, passive. It's this duality game that we're all part of, and we're learning how to balance that in our life, so that ultimately when we get to the winter of our life, our later years, we can have a nice harmonious balance and find peace with ourselves, peace with this world.